So like urbanization with all the roads being built and stuff, it really affects the water intake to the ground. And that does a lot more than you would think because it increases surface runoff because the water can't seep into the ground, which can cause more risk of flooding and erosion. And I mean, that's just a safety hazard in general. Um, it can also lead to more pollution transport to our water,
Okay.
which isn't good for drinking and all that other stuff because like you think people throw trash on the side of the road and then it floods, it gets into those water systems. It can also degrade water quality. So like again, the roads, cars drive on it, so you might have oil leaks, metals, chemicals, just a bunch of other things from different vehicles. And all of this can go into our water. And that's part of the reason we have those boil water warnings sometimes is
Mhm.
because stuff like this will happen and they have to clean it out, which is not ideal. Um,
Um,
I mean, uh,
Sorry. Like you were talking about like some of the pollutants, like what do you think are like the main ones that like are like the biggest like offenders like that like cause the most problems?
the main ones I would think that would probably cause the most problems would just, are you talking about the most common ones or like the worst ones?
Um, Probably like I have more common ones. Like
For more common, I feel like it'd probably be like oil and metals and stuff like that, just because cars drive on the roads every day. And I could imagine just like, probably tons of
yeah,
cars are leaking something. So like,
exactly.
I feel like that would probably be the main contributor. But then it could be area specific too, because then you get to the more rural areas and it could be like fertilizer and stuff like that, which would be probably worse or I don't know.
That yeah, that sounds like about right. What about like microplastics?
Microplastics would probably be like a definite one for sure. Um, from what I looked up, it never really like said anything about microplastics, but I would assume that's just a given one. I mean,
Yeah,
it's probably in everything,
that's
but but the ones that listed were more of like heavy, like would just destroy the water quality. I don't know. It yeah. And then those pollutants that so these the roadways when they flood wash out
yeah.
into the waterways. And these waterways, I mean, that can be detrimental to everything. It can kill off aquatic ecosystems and other various things. And these are all important because they all have a factor in how we use our water. Um, It can also alter stream flow patterns. So like in the river, you have increased runoff. That could increase the height of it flooding, and it can also increase the flow, making it just more dangerous, just more intense flows. It could be more sudden. So if you're like swimming in there and it starts to rain all of a sudden, you could get swept away just
Ooh.
because it'd be fast. It's really dangerous when you go into those creek beds and it starts raining because you don't know how fast that runoff is going to occur. And with roads being near it, I feel like that increases it more and it makes it happen faster.
So as like the water level increases, like from my understanding, like if like the water level is higher, then like is there more of a chance for like more pollutants and like contaminants to get like caught in the water because like there's more stuff that it's touching?
I would say for sure, yeah. Because, I mean, really anything, like if water reaches that point, I mean, it'll probably pull it back in when it goes down too. So, I mean, that would definitely be a factor to pollution. Um, Another point was habitat destruction because, I mean, you got. I mean, with the intense water flow, it could just like it could wipe out trees. It could, I mean, not like big trees, but like it could knock limbs and stuff like that. And it could flood the ground, which would have to make animals move somewhere else for the short period of time. But I mean, these are all really big impacts just from like something simple like urbanization because we need somewhere to live.
Um, so like when it comes to like habitat like destruction, like when these animals like move away, like is a habitat like completely like toast, like unusable, like nothing can live there, or like do animals like come back and like probably not live like great lives?
Well, I don't know much about animal movement in that sense,
Yeah.
but I mean, they would definitely come back. And it also depends on like the level of it depends on the level of how severe it happened. Because like if it was like a hurricane force, I mean that would definitely wipe out the ecosystem
Yes.
and they would have a rough life, yes. But if it was something simple like the Wabash flooding a little bit and then going back down, that wouldn't have near as severe of an effect. So I guess it really depends on that.
Then
But
like, oh, sorry.
no, you're good. What were you gonna say?
Um, I don't know if like it's kind of like compounding issue because like I can see like if more of the environment gets destroyed, like that'll probably like wipe out like a lot of like plant life there and like less plant life, like worse air, and like it kind of makes it worse overall. And like I guess it could like just really like start to compound like
Hmm.
and like this is like water pollution, but like I feel like it can also like tie into air pollution as well.
Yeah, I feel like it. I mean, yeah, it definitely does get rid of vegetation when it floods like this, and it would definitely. I mean, it's harsh on certain plants, but some plants adapt to this, and like the plants you would find by a stream would be different than you would find like on a hill, just because it's different species and they adapt to
Yeah.
like their environment. But I mean, it would definitely like given the force of the water, it could definitely take some trees down and stuff like that. I mean, here we would never probably see anything like that. It'd have to be like an insane amount of rain or something. But I do know, like, it would definitely be like the Ohio River when it got like a ton of rain over and over. It eventually got to like the street level where it was like
Oh
really
man.
flooded. Like I saw people had like waders on trying to get to their car just to
Oh
get stuff
man.
out of it. It was bad. But that stuff like that definitely like it affects quality of life at some point. 'Cause like when it floods that bad, you can't go anywhere. You can't like drive
Right.
your car because it's flooded. And like the damage repairs for flooding in your apartment and stuff like that, it'd be bad. It's definitely a big issue and I feel like we need to I don't know if it's pay more attention, but the roads definitely have an effect on the runoff, and it splitting the watershed definitely has like a big effect on just like how much it floods. And I don't know if there would be a better game plan for like where to put roads in
Hmm.
relations to streams just to like kind of stop that flooding issue. Um, but here in West Lafayette, the roads on River Road and stuff, those would always flood after a rain. But I think they had to have done work on them to where like they don't flood anymore.
Yeah.
But it I mean it's just like stuff like that definitely affects just like the overall community, I guess. Just because I mean flooding, you can't really drive your car or go anywhere.
I know with like roads, I remember back in I think high school, I learned that like they when there was like a lot less understanding about like the environment, like roads would just be cut like straight and like
Mhm.
they would destroy like all the land like in between there and the road to like get the fastest point A to point B. And like the roads wouldn't really go with the land, like it would cut through them. Now I think like they're kind of working towards more like building like around the land and like not just like destroying like all that like land to get the road in. But like does that have like much of an effect on like the water like the drainage and stuff like that?
Any road would have effects on drainage just because the water just can't seep into it.
Yes.
I think it would also kind of depend on where it would be.
Mm.
But I mean, really anywhere you would put a road, you would have water issues because, I mean, when you're driving down a road, you do look on each end and there are drainage ditches for a reason, just because that's where the water runs off. And that, I mean, that's just it, that's where it would flood. Um, it's definitely it's a big issue because like my parents built a house probably like a decently long time ago, but they had to add a bunch of dirt to the land that we bought because there were houses being built all around us.
Hmm.
And all that did was funnel that water into that property. So we had to bring in loads of dirt to try and level that out just so that we wouldn't get water held in our yard. It's just for urbanization, it's like a matter of where will the water go, and that's why neighborhoods kind of have ponds and stuff like that. It's because we don't really have anywhere for that water to go, so we just kind of have to like put it in a pile almost. And it gets to a point where it does get to a decently big issue.
You hit 12 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
Let me set time again. Okay. Yeah, I've got a lot of notes here about feedback. Like firstly, like eye contact was really good. You know, you stayed really engaged and focused on what he was saying, like your physical posture and stuff. It showed like your interest in the topic. Like very like even like minimal encourages and stuff with like your small head nodding, small statements here and there. Like your facial expression showed that you're like really interested and engaged in it, and that like you wanted to like talk more and like showed that you um were into the conversation. You asked like a lot of questions, like especially in the beginning, which was really good. That and like you sort of like clarified your own ideas and your thoughts, which like showed your curiosity, and like it stayed like really like on the same topic of like the discussion, but like for like different areas of it. So it really gave the opportunity to branch out and talk about some other things. You related the topics, like things that you had known. You gave like really good timing for him to like to explain or like into like to elaborate, but like you interrupted well. I don't know how to like stay like with questions and stuff, like good interrupting almost. Like when you needed to. Um, good posture and stuff. You stayed very alert. Clarifying your own understandings and stuff. You displayed and like understood display like an understanding to it by like trying to relate it to like bigger issues and like other contexts and stuff. Like reaffirmed his opinions and concerns. Like you really like, you also shared his energy and engagement really well. Like it felt like the conversation flowed really smoothly because like you both like putting like passion into the conversation and stuff. Like you built up on a lot of topics and like you like at the especially at the end you had like showed your own personal experience and like you tried to like um sort of like showed how it related to it or like your understanding or like other examples of it and stuff. That's it on my notes.
Yeah, I felt that you had good posture throughout, showed that you were like really listening. And I appreciated the questions because it helped the flow of the
Yeah.
conversation and just like really helped me keep talking about like different points of it.
I hope I like stayed on topic because like I am not like very knowledgeable about this.
Yeah.
So like I tried to take from whatever information I have up here,